This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, hello and welcome to an all-new Rated R Safety Show. Today is Thursday, February the 27th of 2020, day 58 of the year. Only 308 days left before the shit show's over with. And boy, do we have a long time to go before that's up and coming. Anyways, needed to bring that up right away. I am finally back, finally back in good old Orlando, Florida, after spending the majority of the week in North Dakota. Oh yeah, I did say North Dakota, and it was freezing. It was cold. It was not my favorite kind of weather, and those are the things that do occur when I get to travel from time to time. Anyways, like I did say, we are coming to you live from the Safety FM studios, and of course, there has been some changes into the studio. I've been telling you over the last few weeks, we would be changing some things up. You should be able to see me a hell of a lot more clearly now if you're watching the video stream service. If you're not, and you're listening to me on the radio, well, you should hear me a little bit clearer now because we have this monstrous board that all of a sudden has been acquired just to get some more sounds and some different crap inside of here. So that's what's taking place right now inside of this little lovely studio world, which we kept on saying that we were going to start doing. So we will see some more video content. And for the people that are listening on to safetyfm.com, well, you won't see the video because we do the radio station over there, or if you're listening to us on safetyfm.live. So whichever one is your mix, that's perfectly fine. Like I do tell people, I have a face for radio, so this is perfectly fine on the way that it's currently set up. Anyways, you came here because we haven't been together all week, and you wanted to take a listen to what the hell is going on in the news. So let's go to that.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM. Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show. Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
So as the week continues to go on over and over and over and over, we keep on hearing the same stuff about the coronavirus. And it just keeps on getting more and more as we go out there and we have the conversations and see what the hell is going on with the news stories. So as we do bring that up, and oh, that is some terrible clicking. Click, click, mofo. So I apologize about that. Anyway, so if you have been watching the news, here's the newest one, so let me share it with you right off the top. The Center for Disease Control encourages men to stay clean-shaven due to the possibility of spreading the coronavirus. Oh yeah, you did hear me correctly there. The caution that certain styles that interfere with the surgical mask functioning properly. While the upper lip facial hair like goatees, upper lip facial hair like goatees, think about that, and mustaches are okay, but mutton chops and full-blown beards are a problem. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's some guys that are out there that have actually blown out these whole full-blown ass beards, and you think that they're going to cut it all of a sudden out of the blue because of a surgical mask? Come on. Come on. I just don't think it's going to happen. But you have to take a look there and go, which is going to make sense for what you're doing. And I will tell you, I had the opportunity of hanging out at the airport over the last few days, because that's what I do. And the interesting part is the amount of people that are traveling with these surgical masks now on. And I don't know. I'm not saying that they don't work. I'm not saying that they do work. But what I'm telling you here is that you have the opportunity of wearing these masks, but Are you getting it based on the air that you're breathing? Because I was listening to some dumbass news story a few days ago, and they were talking about that you got it from the standpoint of actually biting bats. And that's how it started. And I was like, what? I was all confused because I wasn't sure if that was really the case. What are you thinking? What are you seeing out there? Because that's the other thing to think about. I don't know. I just kind of follow along what I see in the news. Share that with you. Anyways, after a abysmal start to the week, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost another 100 points on Wednesday, despite adding at one point over 400 points. Much of the validity is contributed to the changing news of the coronavirus. Here we go again. On other news, Disney stock went down by 3% as the news of Bob Iger departing Disney. Bob Iger is dishing out his reasons for leaving Disney. Now, you're going to like this one. He tells CNBC candidly, I don't want to run the company anymore, adding that 20 years and 81 earning calls have tired him out. But in his smaller role, he'll have involvement in creative direction of the company. So I don't know. I don't know how familiar you are with Bob Iger, and I don't want you to think that I am a Disney buff because I live in Florida, because that's hell of not the case whatsoever. But he did cause some changes to occur. So you have to keep that in mind, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, I don't think that they would be having the Star Wars universe. They wouldn't be having Marvel if these things were not added by him. So something to think about it. The other thing that he has mentioned, saying that if Steve Jobs was still alive, that he believes that they would have acquired Apple at some point. Apple. Did I say Apple? I'm not sure if I said Apple.
Rated R Safety Show.
Sarcastic? Never.
So just something to think about. Very interesting on what's going to happen next. Now, they are promoting another Bob, interestingly enough. Now, the interesting part is going to be here is what's going to happen. Are they going to see some sudden changes inside of the Disney parks, or are things going to be running fine going forward? I guess time will be the only thing to be able to tell us what's going to happen. Anyways, let's continue down the path. A study out of UNLV, that's the University of Las Vegas, just in case, connects the value of drivers' cars to his or her likelihood to slow down for pedestrians crossing the road. For every extra $1,000 in car value, the driver is 3% less likely to let the people pass. Sounds like assholes to me, don't you think?
Duh.
I'm sure you don't think about what I think. Anyways, let's continue. The study had 4 people record themselves walking through the intersections. 1 white man, 1 black man, 1 white woman, 1 black woman. CNN reports that vehicles stopped 31% of the times for both women and white pedestrians compared to the 24% of the times for men and women, for men and 25% for black women who were the volunteers. Anyways, the U.S. Food, matter of fact, before I even go into that, do you normally stop if somebody's actually coming your direction? Do you slow down? Do you drive a very expensive car and decide not to slow down because all of a sudden now you're going to potentially have to wait for somebody else? I don't know. I actually base it off the time of the day. If I'm actually out and about and it's kind of late or extremely early in the morning and I'm talking 3, 4, 5 o'clock, I might be a little bit more hesitant to let somebody walk. I know, kind of sounds a little douchey, but hey, it's the reality of what's going on. What I do, okay? So take it for what it's worth, that's for sure. Anyways, let's continue down the path. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has traced at least 4 outbreaks of E. coli and 1 of Salmonella outbreaks to Jimmy John's restaurants across the country. Oh, yeah, this is the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Just want to make sure, based on what they're saying here news-wise. Their investigation found poor management of fresh produce, particularly its clover sprouts and cucumbers. This is according to CBS reports. Altogether, 90 people got sick across 17 states. The FDA letter requires J&J's president Jim North to explain why proper health and safety measures haven't been taken by the end of the month. In a statement, the company said that it would remove bad veggies across the board and won't be returning. Now, I'm going to tell you, I go to Jimmy John's from time to time because I like the place. My significant other, not a fan because they don't toast the bread, but whatever. But that Sprout thing has been going on for a while because I remember In and Out from time to time when you go in there, they tell you they don't have Sprouts because they have a problem. And there's a warning label about what's going on with Sprouts. So something to think about here, of course.
Duh.
My duh button does not want to work as frequently as it did before. Don't know what the hell's going on there. Anyways, let's continue. 5 are dead after shooter opened fire in Molson Coors Brewery Company, formerly Miller's Coors plant in Milwaukee. The gunman was killed himself after the rampage. Earlier reports indicate that the shooter was fired early Wednesday before returning to the workplace to attack. This story is still developing. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a shit news story. But, okay, this is where I have some problems with this. If someone gets terminated inside of your location, let go, fired, you have to announce this because here's what happens most of the times. People are not aware that someone was terminated, fired, let go, whatever you want to word it. And what ends up taking place is that when the person returns and the other people don't know, you have examples like this. I'm not saying that's the case that occurred right here, but I'm pretty willing to bet that that's what occurred, or at least part of what occurred. Because how did the person get back onto the property? I know that in most locations that I get to go visit, if someone is terminated, they escort them off the premises. Now, I don't know if they only do that because when I'm there, but they escort them off the premises. And I will tell you, not every place that I go to tells everyone, but maybe that's something we need to start talking about. Especially if you don't have security at the location. Now, I would assume somewhere like Coors would have security at their locations. But what do I know? Like I said, the story's still developing, so we'll go into that much later as we get more information. Anyways, Earth will have another moon for a short little while. But it's tiny, very tiny. Astronomers of the University of Arizona discovered a comet which has settled into orbit around the Earth. It's between 6 to 11 feet across. They say that it has been there for about 3 years, they think. Astonishingly, this has only been the second known asteroid to enter and stay in orbit. The last was discovered, I want to say, give or take 2006 by the same group. So it's pretty interesting on how that's working out because that is what you have to do. You have to take a look at these different things that are going on out there. It's quite interesting on how these things work out because when you are looking into this whole space thing, things change from time to time. And I tell people as we have these discussions that when you do this and you take a look at all this stuff that's going on with space, it's pretty interesting. It gets kind of crazy from time to time on what's going on there, for sure. So just keep that in mind as we do move forward here. Anyways, let's continue. The coronavirus isn't the only thing affecting manufacturing sectors. Papa John's announced the closure of 50 franchises in China, sending its stock down 9%. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I would figure that something would happen with your stock if something like that would occur. It also said that sales in China are down double digits year over year. So it just looks like the market, when it comes to pizza, is not a big deal in China. Now, that is just an opinion, of course. That is what I'm sharing with you because that's the information that I have that I was able to acquire. That's the way that it works. Anyways, the Boston City Council will consider approval, or a proposal, better saying, to make parking tickets fee on a sliding scale. Could you imagine that? A sliding scale on a ticket? Councilor Julia Mejia suggested that people who earn less should pay less. I don't think that they should just have to pay any old fee. I think that we have to find ways to make it easier for people to pay back the debt. This is according to Mejia, and this was told to the Boston Herald. Now, let me tell you something real quick. If you get a ticket, and let's say, for instance, I make $100,000 a year, and I park my car because I had an emergency and get a parking ticket because I parked it in a bad spot, and somebody else parked it somewhere else, bad spot too, but they were just being a dick. Do you think that I should pay more because I had the emergency because of how much money I make? Come on, man.
Duh.
Sometimes I just don't get how some of these people come to these ideas on how this stuff's going to work. But you have to look at it, I am not on the city council. I don't make these decisions. And that's just what happens from time to time.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Anyways, let me stop ranting about that real quick. Something stinks in Pennsylvania. No, it's not the Steelers. Who said that? That's not funny.
Duh.
Anyways, let's continue. A strange smell has been noted in the suburbs of Philadelphia, but no one's sure what is causing it. One resident describes that it's sulfur smoky to a local TV station. It could be coming from anywhere, officials note, since the wind blows toxic air and gases in any directions. Agencies from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware have joined forces to rely on the odor to investigate task force to trace down what the culprit is.
Duh.
So let's go back to that portion of the story. Officials note since wind can blow toxic air and gases in any direction. Well, if the air stinks because you're blowing toxic air and gases in any direction, here's an idea for you. How about you stop blowing gases and toxic air in any direction? It's not that difficult. It's not that hard to think of. I mean, we have to look at these different things and say, look, we want to maintain our environment. We have to change some of the things that are out there, just the way that it works. You can't be okay. I mean, what are you going to do? Get a giant Febreze spray and say, hey, okay, now we're good because we're doing something a little bit different?
Duh.
Some of the dumbest things I read sometimes are right here of, well, it's not that important. But what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone. At least that's what I tell people. Anyways, let's continue. No winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Friday's drawing will be for $60 million jackpot or 42.9 cash payout. That's a nice little chunk of change. Like I always tell people, if you win, give me a call. Not that I want any of the money, but I got some ideas on what you can do. And no, not bad stuff. People always think that it's bad stuff. Might have some bad ideas, but not terrible ideas. At least I don't think.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Anyways, I know it's late in the afternoon, so you might not have that much time to celebrate still, but
Duh.
we still need to talk about these days because it's important. So here are the days of the year that you can celebrate today. And let's take it from the top. Digital Learning Day. International Polar Bear Day. And of course, we have somebody calling at the same time, too. National Chili Day. National Protein Day. National Strawberry Day. National Kahula Day. National Retro Day. National Toast Day. World NGO. If somebody wants to tell me what the NGO thing stands for, because I would love to know. And then Pokemon Day. I should have celebrated the same day that the movie came out because, man, that movie was rough. And, of course, last but not least, No Brainer Day. Anyways, those are the long list of the days of the year that you can celebrate today. So that gives you the opportunity to still spend some time on doing that. I might celebrate Toast Day because, I need more carbs in my life at this particular moment. No, I really don't. If it was Taco Day, maybe we would just talk about doing some celebrations. So, once again, I thought that we were not going to get to another episode before the end of the month. Something ended up working out where I got back to the studio in time. So I'm glad that we got to spend this time together. Anyways, like I keep on telling people, this show is something that you had asked for. This is something that you had requested via safetyfm.com of actually doing. I was asked for video. I've been asked for doing this kind of content and also giving people the availability of hosting the show. And for the longest time, people wanted to rant, which I thought was a great idea. But then some people got nervous, and I understand that. And we started doing like the voice thing and changing of the voice. And some people were still nervous because the stories that some people told were too detailed. So We can still cover your voice. We can still chop up some of the information that you give if you want to do it that way. But we would love the opportunity of having you come on, and even if it's just a rant, do the rant, or come on and do a full hosting. I would love the opportunity. We don't have to do the cameras. I understand that. Not everybody wants to do the cameras. Believe me, I was told by multiple people that I was crazy about doing the cameras. You don't want people to know that you're doing that. You know what you do on the side? Yeah, I know what I do on the side. Sounds very similar to what I do here. Sometimes. It just seems a little bit more sarcastic here.
Duh.
I don't know why it works out that way. It just does. Anyways, let me kind of go through some quick things real quick. Some birthdays celebrated today. The only one that I can recognize right off the top when I take a look is, let's see, this one right here. Adam Baldwin, movie actor, Full Metal Jacket. My Bodyguard turns 58. Doesn't he have some younger kids? I want to say they're like less than 10. I don't know. I mean, I think that they're relatively young. So that's something that you might know. I'm not even sure. I take a look at some of these crazy stories that pop up from time to time, and I'm never sure what's going on out there in the real world. I live in this little, I won't say bubble. Also, another birthday that was for today is JWoww. Oh, yes, JWoww.
Duh.
And that's if you actually watch, what was it, Jersey Shore and all that other stuff. I wasn't a big fan. I know who they are. I'm not going to say that I don't, but I didn't watch it. Some people were really hung up, if I remember correctly. Anyways, you have been listening to the Rated R Safety Show. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.